Hi everyone, so this video is going to be just a quick tutorial on how to make a peyote stitch triangle like this. So I'm going to show you this exact pattern today. So peyote stitch triangles can pretty much be made as small or as big as you want. This one has 9 rows and I'll just show you on this triangle here. The way that I count the rows is, where's my needle? So we've got these 3 towers that go up to the corners of the triangle, and they consist of these groups of 2. So you can see these 2 white beads that stack all the way up to the top, and I count those as rows. So this one's got 9 rows, just like these. So you could do a lot less. You'll have a smaller triangle. You could do a lot bigger as well. So once you know how to do the technique, you can pretty much make whatever size you like. So also, I'm going to be showing you this pattern today, which is a really simple pattern, but it makes a really effective kind of design. But there's so many different patterns you can make, and if you look online, just like a Google search for a peyote stitch triangle blank template or something like that, you should be able to come up with just an empty blank template that you could print off and then make so many different designs using that. So you could just do stripes, you could do like this kind of block. There's so many different designs you can make with this triangle. So for beads, the best thing really for this is Peyote Delica beads, which if you don't know are shaped like a tiny tube. They're not round like normal seed beads, they're shaped like a tube, so they're cut flat on the end, so they stack together perfectly, so it's perfect for this. It is possible with round seed beads, but you're not going to get this same crisp triangle shape. So Peyote Delica beads, an advice I would give for this kind of pattern, if you're doing something like this where there's blocks of colour, it's not such a big deal, but when you're doing something like this stripy pattern, it always works best if you pick really contrasting colours from each other, so that each colour has its chance to stand out within the pattern. So for example, this one looks really nice up close. From far away it's a bit wishy-washy, and these were the colours I picked, and I thought, like, yeah, they're really good, they really stand out, they're really contrast from each other, but you have to remember you're looking at a big block of the colour here in the pot, but when it's on here it's just one tiny individual bead next to each other. So when you pick your colours, you could get like just a couple of each of the colours out, put them next to each other on the mat, and see if when it's just 1 or 2 beads they still stand out against each other, because this was a bit like, it's pretty but it's not standing out as much as I would hope. So that's my advice on colours, and so we're going to get started. So you'll need, well, you could do as many colours as you wanted, but for this one I'm going to show you using 3 colours, and we're going to do 9 rows. So I lay my colours out like this in the order that I'm going to pick up the rows. So my first row is going to be this green, second row is orange, third row is blue, and then so on. And the colour that you pick up last with this 9 row pattern, it's technically got 10 rows, because at the end you add this extra row with just a single bead in the corners. So whichever colour you pick third in your lineup is going to be this one that kind of outlines the whole shape at the end. So that's something to bear in mind. So I've taken my needle and threaded it with my thread, any beading thread that you want to use. I'm using about 30 inches of thread, and that's for, like I said, 9 rows, so this size of triangle. I'm going to start by picking up 3 of your first colour, slide those down, just leave a little tail thread, and then sew up through the first one to bring them together into this triangle. Then moving on to your second colour, you're going to pick up 2 of those. Coming out of this one, you're going to go straight into the next one. Make sure they sit nice and flat like that and they're not twisted. Then picking up 2 of that same colour, Now we're coming out of here and going straight through this next one. And picking up 2 more of that same colour. So you're coming out of this one, now you're going to go straight through this next one and up into the one above. So you're going through this last green one and up into just the first orange one, not through both of those, just through the first one. Pull that down and you've got this. Sorry, that orange is a bit close to my skin tone. Hold it like that so you can see. Okay, so now moving on to your third colour, you're going to pick up 2 of those and you're coming out of this orange one, you're going to go straight down through the one next to it. Okay, and just make sure they don't twist like that, make sure they sit and stack nicely like that. So this is where our corners start working up. And then in between here is where we do the peyote stitch. So you're coming out of this orange one, you need to pick up one of your third colour, skip over that green one where you've got this gap and go into the next orange one, which is just going to fill that gap with the blue bead, like that. Okay, so now we're on the corner again, we're going to pick up a group of 2. So picking up 2 of that third colour, coming out of this one and going straight down through that second orange bead. Again, make sure that they stack and sit nice and flat, and then picking up 1 of that same blue. Now coming out here, so you need to fill this little gap here, so skipping over 1, going through that next orange bead. Okay, and we're on the corner again, so you're picking up 2, going straight down through the next bead. And the final one of this row is a single bead. You're coming out of here, you're going to skip that one underneath, go through the orange one and up into the blue one above as well, like that. Okay, so you should be coming out the middle of that group of 2 blue beads. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3 rows. So now we're going all the way back to our first colour, picking up 2 of that first colour, coming out of this one, so you're going to go straight down through the next one. Again, make sure that they stack nicely like that. Now you'll be able to see you've got these 2 gaps this time, so each row you're going to increase on the number of gaps you've got to fill on the side. So this time you've got to add 2 single beads on the side, so picking up 1, going into that blue one that sits up in the middle to fill that first gap, and then picking up another one and going into this first blue one of the group of 2 on the next corner, and that's going to fill that second gap like that. Okay, now we're on the corner again, so you're picking up 2 beads, coming out of this one and going straight down through the one next to it. Okay, now we're going along this side to get to the next corner, and you're going to fill in these 2 gaps. Picking up 1, going through that one in the middle, and picking up 1 and going into the one at the start of the corner. Okay, now adding the 2 on the corner. Coming out here, so you go straight down through the next one. Make sure they sit properly, and then you're going to fill in the 2 gaps on the side. So through the one in the middle, picking up 1, and then through the blue one again. It's when you get to the end of the row, you've got to remember you're not going up through this one here. That's going to drag the piece, like drag these beads down. It's not going to sit correctly. You're always going through, you're coming out of like a blue one, you're going to go through a blue one next. So going through that one and then up into the one above. So you're ready to start the next row. Okay, so now we have this. So from now on, it's going to be the same thing, just swapping colour each row. So now we're swapping to the orange again, to the second colour. And always remember, on each of the corners, you add 2 beads, and then you fill in these gaps in between with single beads to get to the next corner. So you fill the sides in. So starting this row with 2 orange beads, coming out here and going straight down through the next one to create that stack on the corner. Now we're going to fill in this time 1, 2, 3 orange beads along the side. So each time, like I said, it's going to increase. So on the next row, you'll have to fill in 4 beads on the side, and so on. So you just keep filling in along the side until you get to the next corner where you'll pick up 2 and go straight through the next bead. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in this side, add in 1, 2, 3 to get to the next corner, and this one as well, and then I'll show you where we're at. To the end of that row, I've stepped up, so I'm up here ready to add my next row, and so we're going to be using the third colour again this time, so the dark blue for me. So always remember, you're picking up 2 beads when you get to the corners, and then just filling in along the side with single beads till you get to the next one. So that's just how you're going to carry on until you've got as many rows as you want. So keep going. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do 4 more rows if you want to do the 9-row pattern. And then I'll show you how to finish it off. So I've gone up to 9 rows and this is what mine's looking like. So to finish it off, I'm going to add 1 extra row where I add a single bead in the corners. And you could add the single bead in the corners and then sew like through here to the other side without adding another row on the side, but I just like to add 1 extra complete row. So, and I do that in the same colour as my last colour. You could swap back to your next colour, of course. So picking up 1 instead of 2, coming out of this one and going straight through the next one like that. So now you're gonna peyote stitch all the way along to the other side, and a little tip for speeding up a little bit when you're doing that is to hold this thread to the side, pick up your next bead, go through there, pull it through a little bit, but then hold the loop, don't pull it all through. So then pick up your next bead and go through the next one, pick up your next bead, and just carry on like that, and not letting this loop go all the way through. And all that does is just means you're not pulling through a long piece of thread every time. So it can speed you up a little bit. Right now I'm not working with a super long piece of thread anyway, but if you are, that just saves some time. Then when you get to the end of the row, pull it down and make sure that bead pops into place. So that's a little tip for you. So then you'll add your next bead on the corner, go all the way along there, add your next single bead, remember just single bead, all the way back along to here, and then we'll be finished. So this is what it looks like. So I'll just show you how to tie off your threads. So I've just moved down a couple of beads into the side of the triangle. I'm gonna take my needle through here. It's kind of hard to, like I'm going underneath these threads here that connect this bead to the next one. So I'm catching those threads under my needle. Pull that through till you get a loop, and then go through the loop twice. Pull that down really tight until you feel the knot tighten, and move away. Never cut your thread where your knot is. And when you pull it tight, you should feel the knot disappear inside one of these beads. And you can do the same with your tail thread. You can weave it up to the side and then do the same and cut them both off, and we're finished. So that's what they look like, all finished. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll have fun. Now you know how to make the triangle, experimenting with different colours and patterns. These are so fun, quite quick and easy to make as well, and really you can customize them however you want, so they're great. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Subscribe to see more of my videos and like this video if you did enjoy it, and you can always follow me on Instagram at beadingbyhannah. Thanks so much for watching everyone. See you next time. Bye.